In a moment of reflection, Leon recognized the fear trembling within the hearts of his people. The women comforted their weeping children, the youth gathered flickering flames of resistance, and the knights tried to sow seeds of hope in a blood-soaked wasteland. Yet, as the first knight of the goddess, armed with the holy sword, spear, and grail, he acknowledged his inability to fully extinguish the far-reaching evil that had consumed the world. He sought guidance and direction from his beloved goddess, uncertain of what action he should take. With conviction, Leon rallied his army, reminding them that as long as they possessed honor, they would not be defeated. For the goddess, for honor, they would fight. In response, the voice of the goddess reassured him, declaring her presence with him until the very end. Charging forward, Leon and his army engaged in the final battle against billions of devils that had overrun the earth. Barbarian slaves were used as sacrificial shields, while civilian knights armed with spears and shields fell with honor alongside the glorious knights. As the chosen agent of all gods in holy temples, Leon stood alone and tore apart countless demon lords and archdemons, demonstrating the true power of a holy knight. At the age of 217 years, the bitter winter had yet to end. Years passed by in the blink of an eye, and at the age of 256, Leon found himself facing the last remaining demon gate. With its destruction, there was no longer anywhere for the demons to escape. Leon gazed upon the demons standing before him and referred to them as poor and lowly servants of evil. He declared that they were now trapped with him and vowed to eliminate every single one of them. Contrary to what one might think, it wasn't Leon who was stuck within the gate. Instead, it was the demons who were trapped here with him. He couldn't help but express his anger by labeling them as bastards. At the age of 300 years, Leon, the valiant holy knight, stood triumphant before a powerful archdemon. With a single stroke, he effortlessly sliced through the formidable creature, leaving it defeated at his feet. At a distance from the archdemon's lifeless body, there was a group of people. Section Chief Kim anxiously called out to Hari, expressing concern for her well-being. Hari, still disoriented, asked what had happened. In response, Section Chief Kim excitedly exclaimed that that man had defeated the archdemon with a single slash. Leon stood before them, and with a firm voice, he urged them to rise and continue fighting, emphasizing that now was not the time to falter. Intrigued by his presence, Hari and Kim questioned Leon, asking who he was. Positioned near the lifeless head of the archdemon, Leon identified himself as King Lionheart, the Knight of the Glorious Knights, and the agent tasked with carrying out the will of the holy temples, Leon Dragonia Lionheart. Nari, taken aback by Leon's naked appearance, looked on in shock. Remarkably, it had been 300 years since Leon had encountered the people from Earth. A notification suddenly appeared, indicating that all the demons had been defeated. And that was how the Night King returned. A gate mysteriously appeared in the heart of Seoul, its rank shrouded in an unidentifiable black hue. The Korean Hunter Association and the World Hunter Association urgently requested the participation of the nation's large guilds in a raid on the gate. However, due to the unknown difficulty level, the requests were denied. In the end, the government ordered the Korean Hunter Association to take the lead and go in first, which was effectively an execution order. And inside the gate, what Hari saw was a naked man, with countless dead demons lying behind him. Han Hari, the associate manager of the Korean Hunter Association, who was lost in her thoughts, was startled by someone calling out to her. It was Kim Jinsu, the head manager, who handed her a cup of coffee, acknowledging her fatigue. Hari expressed her gratitude and confirmed her exhaustion. Kim inquired about her well-being and the situation at hand. Hari lamented that no one seemed to believe their account of what they had witnessed inside the gate. Kim understood the skepticism, considering that it was a black-rank demon gate, even housing the mighty Great Devil. It was clear that their success, defying all odds and returning alive without the assistance of other guilds, was nothing short of a miracle. But they had even managed to clear it, and this was possible all because of one man. Hari and Kim stood outside the interrogation room window and observed the ongoing interrogation of Leon. There were occasional people who managed to survive in the gate realm. Over the past 30 years, similar gates had appeared worldwide, and the theme of those worlds was a world on the brink of destruction or a world that had already been destroyed. Sometimes, survivors managed to return back to Earth while retaining the incredible strength they had acquired in the demon realm. Recognizing the value of these individuals, the government made efforts to accommodate their needs and devised plans to recruit them. Hari emphasized the importance of scouting these survivors, especially the person they were currently interrogating, as he possessed remarkable strength. Kim agreed, acknowledging that even a rank hunter would face life-threatening risks when confronting a high-ranking demon. However, Leon had slain the Great Devil with a single attack, overpowering a monster that even the most skilled S-rank hunters feared. Kim expressed his concern about the cultural differences they might encounter given the way Leon referred to himself, possibly indicating royalty or similar status. Hari remained optimistic and believed that everything would be fine. When Kim questioned her basis for such optimism, she explained that she could sense it in Leon's voice, perceiving him as a genuinely good person. However, their conversation was abruptly interrupted as Leon unleashed a powerful shout, causing the immense glass window of the interrogation room to shatter. Both Hari and Kim were astonished by the display of raw power, realizing that even the unbreakable glass meant to contain monstrous beings had been shattered. Leon rose to his feet and criticized those present for tarnishing the esteemed Lionheart name. Observing the chaotic scene, Kim questioned Hari's earlier statement about Leon being a very good person. Hari, taken aback by the unexpected turn of events, attributed it to a cultural difference, unsure how to explain Leon's outbursts. 15 minutes earlier, Leon sat in the interrogation room, reflecting on his unfamiliar surroundings. He acknowledged that feeling foreign was expected, considering his past experiences. He was an orphan who toiled through his 20s and eventually died from exhaustion. He was then reincarnated into another world, where he became a king and knight of a kingdom for over a century. After conquering the demon world, he spent 200 years hunting demons, totaling 300 years in total. Despite the differences, Leon found some relief in having memories of this place. His thoughts were interrupted by a bald officer who sat in front of him and greeted him as Leon Dragonia Lionheart. Leon realized that revealing the fact that he used to be an Earthling wouldn't benefit him. Instead, he believed it would be more advantageous to present himself as a Night King who had lived 300 years in the other world, rather than a young man who died from overworking himself. Thus, he responded in an authoritative tone, instructing the officer to refer to him as Your Majesty and called the bald officer peasant. The bald officer initially appeared puzzled but quickly complied with Leon's request. Leon contemplated whether the officer's compliance stemmed from genuine kindness or if the government had specific protocols for approaching survivors like him. The officer then asked about the Black Gate and if Leon had killed all the demons. Leon confirmed that he had indeed killed all the demons and protected the honor of the knights. He bestowed the temporary role of his secretary upon the officer, granting him the privilege of recording this glorious incident. The bald officer, sweating profusely, struggled to maintain composure and mumbled in agreement. In his thoughts, he concluded that Leon was talking like that because of the cultural differences. Leon then expressed his concern about the lack of etiquette rules for treating royalty in this world. The bald officer understood that Leon must be hungry and quickly dialed a number to arrange a meal. Curious about the current state of the world, Leon asked the officer to provide an explanation. He wanted to understand what had transpired on Earth during his absence. The bald officer began explaining the events that unfolded 30 years ago. Gates started opening all around the world, unleashing monsters and demons upon Earth. Since then, the world has been in a constant state of emergency. After taking a lot of losses, they discovered that each gate had a theme and a clear quest associated with it. They also learned that leaving a gate unattended would lead to a dungeon break, where monsters would invade Earth. The officer heard a knock on the door and got up, and he mentioned that the meal was likely ready. He excused himself to retrieve it. While he was away, Leon contemplated the difference between the demon invasions in his world and this world. In his world, the demons invaded like mushrooms after the rain. But in this world, there were gates with themes and quests. It was as if the purpose of these gates was to train humans through trials. The bald officer returned and informed Leon that the meal was ready. Leon looked at the meal and saw that it was a bone broth boiled for hours that was topped with salt and pepper and some crunchy kimchi. It was xiaoliangtang. When he was a laborer on Earth, xiaoliangtang was like soul food for him. People generally enjoy familiar food compared to new dishes, but Leon forced himself to swallow down the saliva accumulating in his mouth. He questioned the bald officer in an angry tone, demanding to know what the dish was. The officer explained that it was xiaoliangtang, known as the soul food of peasants. This response infuriated Leon, and his eyes glowed with anger. He unleashed his fury by smashing a table with a powerful punch. Leon shouted at the officer, criticizing him for sullying the glorious Lionheart name by serving him a peasant's dish. Leon Dragonia Lionheart was a royal from the other world, a proxy for the gods, guardian of the Holy Grail, and the owner of the Holy Blade and the Holy Spear. He dismissed the officer as an inferior peasant and ordered him to leave. Malice, the Lord of Chaos, and the Lord of the 23 Great Devils, the arch-nemesis of the demons, who had killed millions of demons, the incarnation of the history of the 300-year war itself, and lastly, a returner who used to be an Earthling. What he thought after he returned to Earth 300 years was that everything was a mess. He attributed the chaos to the lack of proper religious faith, and saw it as his duty as a member of the royal family to enlighten the foolish peasants. Because despite returning to Earth, he was still a Night King. Leon gracefully cut a steak and savored it with elegance. Kim attentively observed his actions, intrigued by his ability to distinguish their meal of chicken and black bean noodles. Hari felt relieved and commented that Leon was actually enjoying a T-bone steak paired with a bottle of red wine from 1993. Kim then urged Hari to proceed and mentioned that perhaps Leon was more interested in her. After all, she had received a compliment, being called brave, and at least he wouldn't dismiss her outright. Hari was slightly hesitant and replied that Leon had only praised her for her bravery. Summoning her courage, Hari opened the door and addressed Leon with deep apologies for interrupting his meal. Leon, while wiping his mouth with a cloth, recognized Hari as the swordsman from before. He commanded her to sit, and Hari, wearing a delighted expression, secretly signaled her triumph to Kim through the security cameras. Taking a seat, Hari inquired if the meal had met Leon's expectations. In response, Leon admitted that it wasn't bad and appreciated the chef's sincerity and finesse. However, he clarified that his initial treatment of them wasn't due to the simplicity of the food, but rather their attitude towards the king. According to Leon, when greeting royalty from a foreign nation, proper respect and protocol should be observed, reflecting the stature of their own country. Hari was taken aback and realized her lack of knowledge had led to her unintentional disrespect. Leon asked if her name was Han, to which she confirmed that her name was Han Hari. Leon mentioned that he had heard about this world and the appearance of demons, those wicked creatures that had infiltrated Earth. Hari acknowledged his statement, affirming that demons had indeed made their presence known. Unbeknownst to Leon, Hari had a single mission: to convince him to join the Hunter Association. Her thoughts raced, realizing the importance of persuading him to align with their country. With determination, she proposed that if Leon granted them his royal permission, the South Korean government could take responsibility for his well-being from that point onward. In the ongoing intelligence war of the 21st century, the objective was to recruit survivors and prevent them from joining other nations. Curious about the terms of settling in this world, Leon asked whether it would be his duty to enter the battlefield. He further added that since he was an honorable knight, it was right for him to fight. Hari was filled with hope and inquired if he would be willing to affiliate himself with their Hunters Association. However, Leon's expression turned resolute as he declared that a king could not serve as a soldier in another nation's military. Instead, he proclaimed his intention to establish a new knight's order within this world. Hari was taken aback by Leon's decision, leaving her with no choice but to nod in response. Hari turned to Kim with an urgent question, asking what the higher-ups had said regarding their situation. Kim replied that there wasn't much they could say but emphasized the need to provide as much support as possible. Hari expressed her relief that Leon hadn't joined another country or a powerful guild, noting that it was disheartening for the government-affiliated association to bow down to him. She burned with anger, blaming the large guilds who flaunted their wealth and influence for the current state of affairs. As the conversation continued, an alarm suddenly started beeping, startling both Hari and Kim. They exclaimed in surprise, and on their mobile device, a system notification urgently warned about a dungeon break occurring at the Hanam Plains. Kim read the message, explaining that if a dungeon break happened at a granary location, the influx of demonic energy would disrupt food production. Hari said that the Phoenix Guild's S-rank hunter Lee Yongwon would be able to handle an orange-colored gate without difficulty. However, Kim was filled with anger and suspected that these guild members had a different plan in mind. They needed to act quickly to prevent the catastrophe. Kim cursed the Phoenix Guild and expressed his frustration toward them. Unbeknownst to Hari and Kim, Leon, who was listening attentively beyond the door, grasped the gravity of the situation. He understood that if a dungeon break occurred, it would infect the ground and hinder crop growth.
It's the end of this video.
What?
Like and subscribe for more videos.